There are places in the deserts and in the frozen rock where nothing human has ever lived, but the stones themselves remember. And if you stand there long enough, if you let the wind strip away the noise of everything you thought you knew, sometimes you can feel it, a presence that does not belong entirely to this earth. For centuries, there have been stories about them. Not the pure-blooded Draco who rule from the cold halls of their archives. And not the fragile humans who burn like paper in the wind of time. These stories speak of something else. A merging. A bridge. A species that carries the memory of both. They are the hybrids. Born from a collision of two lines of evolution, they walk with the gravity of the Draco and the hunger of a human heart. They know the weight of blood, but they also know the power of choice. And for thousands of years, hidden from the surface, they have been building a library that no human empire has ever touched, not carved in stone, not written on paper, but stored in the bodies and minds of those who can hold it. You are about to step into that library. What you will hear in the next hour are not stories of kings or battles. These are teachings. They are the principles that guide the hybrids, the way they look at time, at fear, at the fragile, short-lived world above. These teachings are not offered as advice. They are not given to make you safe. They are given for one reason only, to wake up something that has been asleep in you for a very, very long time. And I must tell you this before we begin, the first thing you will notice is how simple these teachings sound. You will want to dismiss them. You will want to tell yourself that you have heard all this before. But stay. Listen a little longer. Each line is like the edge of a blade, easy to miss, but once it touches you, it cuts deep. Once the words sink in, they are not just ideas. They are instructions that begin to rewrite the way you see. Because the hybrids are not here to be admired. They are here to change the shape of the one who listens. As we begin, let this be clear. These teachings were not meant for everyone. If one of them feels like it was spoken directly to you, it is because it was. The first chamber of this hidden library does not have walls of stone. It has walls of silence. When you stand in it, you begin to understand why the hybrids were made, and why their teachings are unlike anything that comes from humans or from Draco alone. The hybrids speak first about divided strength. Two lines of power, when combined, do not cancel each other. They create a third. This is their first law. Where a pure Draco stands like a mountain, and a human moves like a spark, the hybrid does not choose between mountain and spark. They hold both at the same time. The mountain slows the spark. The spark warms the mountain. And what is born from that union is something that can wait for centuries, and then act in a single second without hesitation. Then they speak about conflict inside the self. If you carry two natures, do not try to silence one. Let them fight. Let them sharpen each other. The hybrids do not see inner conflict as a weakness. They know that inside them there is a hunger to move, to feel, to live, and beside it, a cold clarity that refuses to bend. These two forces clash every day. But the clash itself is the training. Over time, the human part becomes disciplined, and the Draco part begins to understand compassion. The pressure of one against the other forges something harder than either could have been alone. Their third teaching is about movement. Walk with a human heart. Stand with a Draco spine. This is not a metaphor. It is a discipline of the body. They train their stance until their body is unshakable, like a tower of stone, and then they move through the world with the softness and curiosity of a creature that knows it has only a few years to see everything. People feel this balance when a hybrid enters a room, a presence that is calm and immovable, and yet their eyes see everything as if for the first time. Next, they speak about hunger. Use the hunger of the short-lived to build what lasts beyond you. Hybrids know they will live longer than humans, but not as long as the pure Draco. So they carry the urgency of a short life inside a body that can wait. This creates a strange power. They act as if time matters, but their actions are built with the patience of someone who has seen 100 generations come and go. To live like this is to refuse to waste even one breath, but also to never rush. The fifth teaching is about weakness. Every weakness you carry becomes your second sight, if you allow it. Unlike the Draco, who are bred to erase every flaw. Hybrids study their weaknesses. If they are afraid, they watch the fear until it becomes a guide. If they are small, they use that smallness to move where giants cannot. If they are born fragile, they learn the flexibility that strength cannot teach. Nothing is wasted. To them, every crack in the self is a window. And finally, the sixth teaching in this first chamber. The blood of two worlds is a map. Follow it. This teaching is carved into the center of their archives. It says that what you inherit from those who came before is not a burden. It is a map that shows you the roads you did not know were there. Hybrids follow their own bloodlines not to be trapped by them, but to use them like threads, pulling knowledge and instinct out of the past as if it were still alive. When you leave this first chamber, you begin to feel something strange. These teachings are not only about them. They are about you. Every person carries two sides that seem to hate each other. Most spend their lives choosing one and killing the other. The hybrids are here to tell you that this fight is the very place where your real strength is waiting. And as you step out into the second hall, where the air grows heavier and the silence sharper, you realize something else. These teachings are not soft. They are not gentle. They are as sharp as the blood that made them. And once you hear them, you cannot pretend you do not know. The second hall of the hybrid library is covered in symbols that seem to move when you look at them too long. It feels as if the walls themselves are trying to teach you something before a single word is spoken. This hall is about the art of seeing. The first teaching here says, "You do not see with the eyes. You see with the shape of your attention." A hybrid's eyes are sharp, yes, but it is not their eyes that reveal the truth. It is the way they focus. They can look at a person, a place, a pattern, and instead of seeing only what is in front of them, they see everything around it. They see the pull, the weight, the currents. Humans often miss the world because their eyes are too quick. The hybrids slow the eyes until the truth begins to rise. Then, carved deeply across the opposite wall. Your body is the first archive. What you do with it becomes memory. Every scar, every movement, every tension you hold, it all writes itself into you. The hybrids treat the body like a scroll. They read the way someone stands, the way someone breathes, and they can tell you what decades of fear or desire have carved into their muscles. For themselves, they train until every piece of movement is deliberate, so that the archive they leave behind in their own body is clear. The third teaching. The way you breathe builds the way you think. A shallow breath builds shallow thoughts. A long, slow breath creates a field wide enough to see things other people miss. The hybrids practice breathing as if it were writing. They breathe in a rhythm that shapes what their mind can hold. It sounds simple, but it is the difference between living inside a cage and living in a field. Another inscription, this one arranged like a spiral. If you want to remember, move. For hybrids, memory is not a pile of words in the head. It is in the bones, the muscles, the way the body repeats what it once lived through. When they need to recall something, they do not sit and think. They walk. They perform the movement that once led them to that moment, and in doing so, the memory rises whole. They say the human mistake is thinking that stillness brings clarity. For them, memory is motion. The fifth teaching. Your skin listens before your ears. The hybrids know that the body can sense danger or intention long before the conscious mind does. This is why their training begins with stillness, to quiet the noise enough so that they can feel the smallest change in the air. Once you can feel that change, you can feel anything, a lie, a hidden thought, even a shift in time. Further along the wall is a sentence that feels alive when you read it. Do not force the vision. Expand until it comes. This is their way of seeing the invisible. They do not squeeze the eyes to find it. They widen their attention until the thing that was hidden has no choice but to appear. You can try this yourself. Look at something without wanting it to be anything at all. Watch how the space around it changes. This is how hybrids find what others cannot. And finally, in letters cut so fine they are almost invisible. Memory is not in the past. It is in the shape of now. This teaching says that every moment is a mirror. If your body is full of fear, the world you see will be fear. If your body is calm, the world will calm. They do not need to travel to the past to change it. They change their stance in the present, and the memory reshapes itself. As you stand in this hall, something begins to happen to you. You notice your own body. You notice the weight of your feet, the air on your skin, the way you are breathing. And for the first time, you begin to understand what the hybrids have always known, that everything you need to see has been with you since the beginning. You have just been too loud to hear it. When you leave the hall, the silence outside feels different. You do not feel blind anymore. The third hall is colder. The air no longer carries the warmth of stone that has been sleeping for centuries. It is sharp, clean, almost metallic. Here, the teachings shift. They are not about vision. They are about control. And the first lesson they offer is carved into the floor itself, so you cannot avoid stepping on it. Heat clouds. Cold clears. The hybrids teach that anger, desire, panic, these are fires that burn fast but blind the one who holds them. Cold is not absence. It is clarity. It is the power to look at something without setting it on fire. When a hybrid acts, the room feels like a deep lake, everything slows, every ripple is seen, nothing is lost. On the right wall, the next line is cut deep. Hold until the wave passes. This is the core of their training. They do not rush to react. They let the first wave of feeling crash and fall away, and only then do they step forward. Most beings are swept away before the wave has even finished rising. The hybrid stands still long enough to see where the water goes. Further along the wall, words written like a command. Cool yourself before you answer. This teaching is used in everything, from combat to speech. They wait before responding, even to small things. The cooling changes everything. A heated reply will always reveal weakness. A cooled reply carries weight, because it is no longer just reaction. It is choice. Another carving, low and wide. The one who cools first leads. In any conflict, a fight, an argument, even a silent tension in a room, the one who becomes calm first controls the shape of what follows. The hybrids practice this until it becomes instinct. In a storm, the one who stills first becomes the center of the storm. Everyone else begins to move around them. There is another inscription, shaped like a spiral of circles. Stillness is the sharpest form of movement. This paradox means that stillness is not doing nothing. It is doing something so precise that the world cannot see it coming. When a hybrid finally moves, it feels as if they were already there before the action began. Then a teaching that feels like it belongs to something older than words. Ice in the mind, flame in the heart. To the hybrids, this is balance. Their mind stays cold, unshaken, slow, precise. But their heart stays alive. Without the flame of the heart, cold becomes cruelty. Without the cold of the mind, the flame destroys itself. The two together make them dangerous in a way that neither Draco nor human could be alone. Finally, at the center of the hall, patience sharpens the strike. The hybrids know that a single action made at the right moment is worth more than 1,000 frantic attempts. They will wait years for that moment. And when they strike, there is no resistance, because the world has already been shaped to open to that strike. This hall is silent in a way that feels alive. You can almost feel the walls breathing. And when you leave it, the silence comes with you. You notice the heat in yourself, every impulse, every rise of anger, every panic. You feel how fast you burn. And you begin to wonder how different everything would look if you could stand, even once, the way they do, as cold as stone, as clear as glass, waiting without fear. The fourth hall feels different from the ones before. There is no cold here, no heaviness. Instead, there is a faint pull, like a tide you cannot see. The walls are smooth, but every step you take feels as if it was already chosen for you long before you made it. This hall teaches influence. The first message runs across an entire arch. Do not push. Shape. The hybrids know that the fastest way to make something resist you is to force it. Instead of pushing against the world, they shape the field around them until the world moves on its own. A river will not follow your command, but if you dig the channel deep enough, the water has no choice but to flow the way you have built. Lower on the wall, in thin lines that seem almost casual. Most of control is invisible. They say that when control can be seen, it is already broken. If you need to announce your power, you do not truly have it. The hybrids work in a way that feels like air. No one notices it, but everyone breathes it. Farther in, an inscription that curves slightly upward. Let others think they are choosing. The hybrids do not take freedom away from others. They give so many options that the one they prefer feels like the only natural one. People think they have chosen, but they have only followed the path that was already set. On the opposite wall. The less you touch, the more you hold. It sounds like a riddle. It means that when you interfere directly, you disturb the pattern. When you touch only where it matters, the pattern aligns itself. This is why hybrids speak so little, and why their presence often matters more than their words. At the center of the hall stands a single block of stone. Across it is carved, "Control the pace, and the outcome follows." Speed changes everything. If you slow the pace of events, you change the way everyone thinks inside them. If you move faster than expected, you disrupt their plans. To control the pace is to shape the shape of time itself. The hybrids are masters of rhythm, and that rhythm bends everyone else around it. Another carving, set low so you must kneel to read it. Gravity is stronger than force. Force makes enemies. Gravity makes allies. Force works only while you are present. Gravity works even when you are gone. The hybrids do not fight to hold. They become so steady, so aligned, that everything begins to circle them without being asked. Finally, close to the exit of this hall, the last line. The hand that builds the stage never needs to perform on it. This is the essence of their influence. They do not need to stand in the light. They create the stage, and by the time anyone notices, the play is already written. As you leave this hall, a strange realization begins to grow. You start to see how many of your own choices have been shaped by patterns you never noticed. You wonder how much of your life has been truly yours. And yet, in that same moment, you begin to see the possibility that you can shape, too. The hybrids are not just describing how they control. They are offering a mirror. If you learn to shape your own field, you will stop being shaped by someone else's. Beyond the hall of influence lies a passage that looks broken, as if time itself tried to crush it and failed. Here the floor is cracked, and the stone under your hands feels like it has been burned. This is not a mistake. This place was left like this to remind anyone who enters what it means to survive. The first teaching is carved straight into a scar that runs down the wall. Pain is a teacher. Do not silence it until you understand what it came to show you. Hybrids never run from pain. They know that every pain, whether of the body or of the heart, has something to tell. If you push it away too soon, you never learn. If you stay with it long enough, pain becomes a doorway. Further along, letters burned into the wall rather than carved. What wounds you can also sharpen you. For hybrids, scars are maps. A wound leaves a mark, but it also teaches where you are weak. Instead of hiding the scar, they study it. In this way, every wound becomes a tool. On the right wall. Hurt is heat. Shape it before it burns you. Most beings are consumed by hurt. It becomes a fire that destroys everything. Hybrids learn to take that heat and cool it, directing it like molten metal poured into a mold. What would have burned them becomes the thing they build with. Deeper inside the hall. Do not make pain an enemy. Make it an ally. Humans try to fight pain. Draco tried to ignore it. Hybrids walk with it. They listen to it, hold it, until it changes from a weight into something that gives balance. There is an inscription that looks like a broken circle. If you carry pain, carry it on purpose. This does not mean loving it. It means using it. Pain carried without purpose bends you. Pain carried with purpose strengthens you. The same weight that crushes one person can make another stand straighter. Another teaching stands in sharp, thin lines. Do not seek a life without pain. Seek a shape that pain cannot break. To hybrids, the goal is not safety. Safety makes you weak. They choose instead to become so strong that no pain can erase what they are. Even if they fall, even if they are torn apart, their shape remains. And one more, carved at the very end of this corridor. The deepest strength grows in the place where you thought you could not survive. Every hybrid knows that survival is not about avoiding the impossible. It is about stepping into it, and discovering that the limits you thought were final were never real. This is where resilience is born. Not in comfort. Not in protection. But in the moment you walk through something that should have destroyed you, and come out different. As you stand among these broken stones, the silence is thicker. This place is not gentle. It reminds you that everything you try to run from follows you. And the only way forward is to turn and face it. In that moment, a strange thought comes. Maybe the pain you carry now is not just punishment. Maybe it is a map. Maybe it has been showing you a door that no one else can see. Past the hall of pain, the ground becomes smooth again, as if the stone itself is beginning to breathe. The air here is different, thicker, almost sweet, like something alive has been waiting here all this time. It is said that this part of the library is not written for the mind. It is written for the blood. The first teaching stands above the entrance. Your blood remembers more than your thoughts. Every step you take, every choice you make, is guided by patterns older than your name. The hybrids know that blood carries the memory of entire histories. If you know how to listen, it will tell you where you came from, and what waits for you to become. Farther along the wall. The body is a code. Learn to read it. They believe every muscle, every reflex, every sickness is a message. What repeats in the body has been written there for a reason. To the hybrids, healing is not the act of forcing a body to change. It is learning to decode what it has been trying to say all along. Another inscription, etched in lines that resemble veins. What is inherited is not a cage. It is a tool. Most beings feel trapped by the patterns they inherit: family, species, bloodline. Hybrids see it differently. They use what is inherited the way a sculptor uses raw stone. It is material. It is not a prison. On a large, low block. Wake up the memories that sleep inside your blood. Through ritual, focus, and discipline, they claim it is possible to access these deep memories. Not by forcing them, but by creating the right state. Sometimes these memories come in dreams. Sometimes they come when the body is pushed to its edge, until something older than thought takes over. Across the curved wall. The body does not lie. Words can be false, but the pulse, the breath, the way someone's hands move, these never lie. This is why hybrids pay more attention to bodies than to speeches. The body speaks the truth, even when the mind refuses to. Another teaching, simple, carved very deeply. Clean the body to clear the path. This is not just about health. It is about creating a vessel strong enough to hold the weight of knowledge. A body poisoned by chaos cannot hold discipline. The hybrids begin with the vessel before they try to hold power. The last one, at the far end of this hall. Your bloodline is a map to what you can become, not a chain that ties you. To them, every drop of blood is a guide. It shows what is possible if you have the courage to move beyond its limits. Hybrids honor their blood, but they do not worship it. They walk forward carrying its strength without bowing to its boundaries. As you step out of this hall, you begin to feel a new weight in your own body. Not heaviness, but awareness. The beat of your heart seems louder. The feel of your own breath sharper. And you realize, these teachings are not abstract. They are asking you to enter yourself like a library you have ignored your entire life. Because in their eyes, you are already carrying everything you have been looking for. When the corridor turns again, it leads to a vast hall where the ceiling cannot be seen. Here the air feels so still that even your own thoughts seem louder than they should. This hall is different from all the others because it does not feel like a place for remembering. It feels like a place for building. At the entrance, wide and deep. You do not live inside reality. You build it. This is the first truth of the architects. The hybrids do not believe in waiting for the world to give them shape. They shape it. Everything begins in the field you carry, the space of intention, attention, and structure that moves with you. Farther along the wall. Your presence is the blueprint. Where you go, the field goes. Before any event happens, the blueprint has already been drawn by what you are. If your field is chaos, chaos follows. If it is clear, everything begins to align. Another inscription. The smallest adjustment inside you will rewrite everything outside you. Hybrids never start with the outside. They begin with one breath, one choice, one posture. The moment that small adjustment is made, reality shifts around it like a set of gears. Most never see this because they keep hammering at the surface instead of changing the root. On a high block at the center of the hall. Do not force events. Hold the shape until the world bends to it. To hold the shape is to refuse to move from clarity. It is to stand so steadily in the pattern you want that the world, piece by piece, begins to move around you. This is not control. This is architecture. Further, the wall curves and the letters follow. Every thought builds a structure. Choose carefully what you repeat. Thoughts are not nothing. They are bricks. The more often you think the same thing, the more solid that wall becomes until it is the only path you see. Hybrids train to repeat only the patterns that create freedom. Low on the wall, close to the floor. The one who holds the frame does not need to hold the details. When the frame is strong, the details align themselves. When the frame is weak, you will spend your life chasing details and losing them. The hybrids know that everything is built from the frame inward, not the other way around. Finally, just before the exit. Reality is a mirror. It reflects not what you want, but what you are. This teaching is written so deeply that the grooves seem endless. It says that you cannot hide from the shape you carry. Whatever lives in your field will appear around you. If you want to change the reflection, you must change the one who stands in front of the mirror. As you leave this hall, the silence feels heavier but calmer. You start to notice how much of your life has been spent trying to change things outside of you, as if pulling weeds could ever change the soil. The hybrids have shown you something very different, that the soil itself can be reshaped. And once that happens, nothing can grow there that does not belong. At the deepest end of the hybrid library there is a narrow door. It is carved so low that even the tallest must bow to enter. This final inner hall does not welcome many. Its teachings are whispered only to those who have already learned silence. These are the rarest of their words, each one short, each one leaving no space for confusion. The first inscription is cut into the center of the floor. You belong to no origin. You are your own beginning. This is the core of the hybrid's way. Even though they are born of two lineages, they do not belong fully to either. From that, they learn to be the start of their own line. On the left wall. What you do not control, you do not yet understand. Control here is not about force. It is about knowing something so deeply that it can no longer surprise you. This applies to your body, your mind, your fear. Next. Never wait for permission to awaken. Hybrids do not look to others to tell them when they may grow. They move forward the moment they see the door. Another carved deeper than the rest. Your silence will teach faster than your words. They believe the example of the way you stand in a room can change someone more than an hour of advice. Across from it. The slower you move, the more the world speeds up for you. This paradox is a key of their discipline. Patience is not slowness. Patience creates openings that others cannot see. At the edge of the hall, almost at the floor. Every alliance is temporary. Build what can stand alone. Even with family, tribe, or blood, a hybrid's ultimate strength is to stand alone if needed. The seventh teaching. You will lose everything that is not truly you. Let it be taken. They do not fear loss. They see it as a kind of purification. Whatever is left after the taking is what matters. On a column, slim lines run upward. There are no accidents, only places you were not paying attention. Attention, for hybrids, is a form of power. It writes the pattern of their life. When they lose track of that, they miss what was always there. Near the far wall, almost hidden. Listen until the shape appears. Act when it is complete. This is how they make decisions. No rush. They wait until the full pattern shows itself, then they move. And the last rare teaching, standing above the exit in bold letters. If you carry two worlds, never let them fight for control. Let them build a third that has never existed before. This is their identity. This is why they exist. It is why they are feared and why they survive. The hall does not speak after that. It lets you stand in the echo of these 10 teachings and understand why so few are allowed to hear them. They are not easy to carry. They are sharp, heavy, and they demand that you let go of everything weak inside you. But for those who hold them, they become a structure that does not fall. When you step out of the last hall, the air of the surface world feels different. It is thinner, lighter. You notice the sound of your own steps in a way you never had before. You are no longer walking through stone. You are walking through yourself. The hybrids have taught you many things, but perhaps the most important is this. Everything they showed you was never meant to be taken as a story about someone else. It was a map, and the map was always pointing back to you. These teachings are not soft. They are not safe. They are meant to make you heavy where you were light, still where you were scattered, awake where you were asleep. And as you look back at the halls in your memory, you can see how each one was building something inside you. The hall of two natures, where conflict became a forge. The hall of seeing, where the body and the eyes became tools for memory. The hall of cold, where clarity was stronger than speed. The hall of influence, where they taught you how to shape the field instead of pushing at the world. The broken hall, where pain became a blade. The hall of blood, where you learned that memory lives in your bones. The hall of architecture, where you saw that you are not a guest in this reality, you are its builder. And finally, the inner hall, where the rarest teachings demanded that you stand as something new. What you do with these teachings is yours to decide. They will not follow you. They will not guide your hand. They have shown you the shape, and now it is yours to step into. Some of you will feel something stirring in your chest right now, like a memory that is not yours, trying to wake up. Some of you will feel nothing, and that is as it should be. The hybrid library only speaks when the one who listens is ready to hear it. But if even one sentence, one line from this deep place stayed with you, hold it. Do not let it slip back into silence. These teachings are not for everyone, but if you have heard them, it means you were meant to. If there was one moment, one phrase in these teachings that struck you, write it in the comments. Write the line that will not leave you. Because by writing it, you are carrying it out of these halls and into a world that has forgotten it. And if you feel that pull, that strange sense that you want to keep going, keep listening, then subscribe. There are more halls ahead. The library is not finished. These are not just the teachings of the hybrids. From the moment you hear them, they can become yours. If these teachings touched you, even for a moment, do not let them disappear like smoke. Write in the comments the one line, the one thought, that still echoes inside you. In doing that, you are not just leaving a message, you are anchoring that memory into the field so that others may find it. Subscribe if you are ready to keep walking through the hidden halls, because this channel is not entertainment. It is a map. And every new step we take here will open doors that have been closed to you for lifetimes. When you are done listening, do not let the path end. Explore the other videos, because each one is a fragment of a greater library. Somewhere in these walls, there is a phrase that belongs to you. Find it. Carry it. And let it change you before the world even realizes you have begun to change.